So I'm going to throw a little thing at you called The Violinist of Kiev. My fiddle enchants bus shelters and pigeons, Orpheus-wise. Summons journalists who bend and sway. Even the conscripts' rifles twist to listen. If I stop to look behind at what's become of home, the inverse of music will unbuild us all and leave the world violently quiet. Oh, thanks, folks. And so now we move on to Robert Girvan, which means that Robert Priest, the two Roberts, Robert Priest will follow.
Okay, hello. So I'm going to do a bit of an unusual acknowledgement here. I've written a book on the injustices faced by Treaty 7 peoples in Western Canada. So I acknowledge that we in Canada must do a lot better at practical reform to improve life on the reserves from what I've seen with my own eyes and what I've heard. Having said that, let me move on. I want to thank Richard, Penn, Susan, and Tim for preparing this performance today. I'd like to read one poem. It's called 13-ish Ways Poems Make Something Happen. The human voice speaks a world to life. It says, this is what matters. A poem is born in music, even when estranged from its natural home. A poem calls and answers across the divides of time, place, and creed. Each line happens, then repeats with widening scope and sound. Poems attend to nuance, sound, and the musical geometries of form. They revel and reveal, slipping the knots of logic with metaphorical dance. The poet sees, feels, and names in all weather, adding gradations of light or shadow as required by life or the pleasures of song. Harder days bring deeper measures. In bitter times, poetry is rarely surprised, as poets are often acquainted with the night. The poet is no saint. That's a different job description. But many long for a higher world and evoke it with words. When the bombing begins, those who can't stop it feel useless and despair that they in poetry cannot do more to save the world. Poetry can't fire a gun or organize war strategy, nor are dictators and other killers interested in speeches. But poetry has its ways and its power. It is the naming art. Anguish and grief lessen when shared in the clear morning light. Amid the fog of war, it tries to resist the degradation of language to keep a space open for the human. With a ripped sleeve, broken stone, or words of grace and pain, poetry shows the pity and the horror of war. Those who have survived hell attest. Sonnets can save the human spirit even in concentration camps. The words of poets ring out beyond the grave. But war and power are not all, not the best or most important part. When one sees a blackbird or red cardinal, they might see snowy mountains and think of many things. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Oh, thank you, Robert. I think that's one of those poems that sums up the whole point of the book, really, where we were, what we were going for in this whole questioning of what poetry can do for people. So Robert Priest, the illustrious Robert Priest, is coming up, and that means that Pyx Sutherland will follow. Robert Priest. Oh, there we go. Robert Priest is still muted.
There we go. There we
There
go.
we are.
Oh, okay. Did you want me to recite the poem or sing the song?
Sing the song.
Well, the majority of you obviously want me to sing the song. I'm in Toronto, and I hope someone else has already specified the peoples who occupied this land before. I don't have it before me, but
They've done it. They've done it for you.
okay, great. Yeah, so This is called The Bomb in Reverse. The bomb in reverse, it implodes the pyre. It sits on the roof, it sucks out the fire. It snuffs the inferno and gives back the lives. They unscream their screams and the people arise. They unsay their prayers, verse before verse, in the backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse. Little ones unburned in the shrinking flame. Young Ali has arms, he's no longer maimed. He returns to mother, runs backwards to play, back to when he knew he'd live forever yesterday. He unlearns his numbers, last before first, in the backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse. The bomb in reverse rises to unfall, sucking in its contrail over Mariupol. The pilot lands a jet. He unlives his life back to a dream he can't forget. He sees wheat fields rise from famine, the peace rise from the earth. It's a backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse. Oh, little ones unburned in the shrinking flame. Young Ali has arms, he's no longer maimed. He returns to mother, runs backwards to play, back to when he knew he'd live forever yesterday. He unlearns his numbers, last before first, in a backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse. In the backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse.
Oh, thanks so much, Robert. I love that song. It's been a while since I heard it. I love it.
Oh, thank you. That's a new verse about Mariupol. That's why I forgot. The bomb in reverse rises to the jet, sucking his contrail. Oh, boy. Oh, rises to unfall, sucking in its contrail over Mariupol. Stern first to the tarmac, the pilot lands the jet. He unlives his life back to a dream he can't forget. He sees wheat fields rise from famine, peace rise from the earth. It's the backwards resurrection miracle bomb in reverse. That's the line I missed. Not key.
Well, there you go. That's a good recovery. So there you go. What can I say? Yeah. So Pyx Sutherland, and after that, Sharon Thesen.
And I apologize, I can't stay much longer because of having too much to do.
Oh, it's understood. It's understandable. Take care.
I'll stay a bit though. Okay.
Great.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Pyx.
Hi. So many thanks, and I'm so grateful to be with you all. And it's very moving, some of the poems, and it's a lot to take in, and very, very overwhelmed by. It's my first reading, the first time I've done anything like this, and this community of poets. I'm saying I'm falling in love with you. But I'm also living in gratitude here in the unceded territory of the Algonquin people, Songwees people in Victoria, BC. And my poem in the anthology was inspired by a Rinzai Zen chant, which the monks every morning put their neatly folded robes on their head, because the robe is called the vast field of benefaction. And the chant I took was inspired by that. And so the poem is, we will wear this vast robe together, repair the vast robe together. We will share this, our one vast robe together. We will. And another small one, two more small ones. Her golden goat cheese sandwich, half eaten, trampled in balm dust. And the last, flags for forgotten people. May those who serve gently be exalted as the perfection of stars, to shower for eternity light years of kindness. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous, Pyx. So I see that I think Sharon Thesen is no longer with us. This has been an absolutely punishing series of readings today. Just such a huge
Rewarding, Rico.
rewarding. It's either the carrot or the stick with me. It really is. But Sheri-D Wilson is still in the house, and
Yay.
I would like to. Is Sheri-D Wilson still in the house?
She just was. She heard Robert.
I'm here.
Aha.
I'm here.
Of course you are.
I'm here. Oh,
Sharon-
Sharon's here.
Oh, Sharon's here. Okay.
And Sherry.
Okay. Well, then we'll be Sharon and then Sheri. Sharon and Sheri.
Sharon and Sherry. I'll turn myself off.
Oh, don't do
Oh,
that.
please don't do that, Sheri. Thank you, Pen and Susan
Oh, I love you.
and Richard, for organizing this reading. I think it's the first truly national live poetry reading I've ever experienced, and that has ever been organized. And this is thanks to Zoom and to all you people who are participating, and for everyone who's been involved in organizing. It's just great. Someone mentioned earlier that she really felt part of a community of writers, and that is for sure the feeling of this gathering. I'm just going to read one poem from my book, The Receiver. It's called Anna Akhmatova, the Russian poet, whose work was condemned and censored by the Russian authorities. She chose not to emigrate and instead to remain and act as a witness to the events around her, which put her in disfavor, of course, and many who were close to her died. Anna Akhmatova. I cannot tell if the day is ending or the world, or if the secret of secrets is inside me again. Anna Akhmatova with a black shawl and a great nose that said, I am a living poet. Joseph Brodsky knew her, and the mystics and philosophers, psychiatrists and economists around them. But for a long time before that, companions had died from gulag or suicide, herself with typhus, TB. In a long lineup, trying to see through the crowded gate and into the political prison where her son or another one loved was being held, with food for him anxious in the pocket of her coat. A sad, exhausted woman standing there also asked her, can you describe this? And Akhmatova said, yes, I can. And the woman smiled. For years, her poems were recited secretly among friends, or she would write one out on a scrap of paper quickly, let her visitor read it and then burn it. Hands, matches, an ashtray, a ritual beautiful and bitter.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. And I have to say that Sharon's poem in the book is from a dialogue between you and me, written over a year and published this week, and launching tomorrow at 1:30
Yes.
at Gap Riot Press. I don't have the,
I do. Just hold on. I got it. Yeah.
it's a sweet little mauve. I'm wearing mauve, there it is. But I don't have the Zoom link. Do you, Sharon? Can you put it in the chat if you do? I don't have it's Gap Riot. If you go to the events at Gap Riot Press, we'll see you tomorrow too, if you can. Humankind cannot bear too much poetry.
And the review of PS will be launched with Rob McClellan at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
And that review happens to be, is this internecine or what? By Katarina Fretwell. And it's a gorgeous review. I happen to have read it. Onward.
Onward and upward. Sheri-D Wilson, without further ado, and after which we have Susan McCaslin.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for reading that piece about Akhmatova, Sharon. One of my favorites. So thank you. I loved that. And thank you to everyone. That was quite a beautiful day. I really feel this wonderful community, and it's really wonderful to feel. And so thank you to Penn and Susan and Richard for doing this, because it's a lot of work. And all of us who are the workers of poetry know it takes a lot. So thank you very much. This is a piece I wrote last night in solidarity with this event. I'd like to acknowledge the 198 district First Nations found within this province that some refer to as British Columbia, and pay respect to the elders and knowledge holders who have been the custodians of this land and who have taught me how to walk in my own Celtic roots. They have showed me the ways I might fly. Sometimes poetry is the invisible thread, the line that connects us to our own humanity, humility. Realms open, hearts, bodies, spirits, minds, the poem flies into our beings to unravel the unraveling world. We are poems of love. We are poems of battles and war. We are the stars. We are together in this, under a falling sky. We are falling. Peril of the soul. We are together in this search for nothingness in the middle of all of this noise. Our lives joined in not knowing, beginnings, endings, circling Ouroboros. We are passing through the unbetween life and death. We cannot separate ourselves from the inner sun of nothingness. We are together in this. Voicing from ether, spirit of mind, fire is central, burning inside. 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 Every cell of ourselves cries a universal song. We are not perfect or whole. Nothing feels good. As we share all things connected under falling skies, blue to smoke, black brutality, and the lies, the falling lies, we share the falling lies as we run from oppression to save ourselves without imagination. We try to envision all things, including nothingness, try to find something to open us to nothingness inside, inside, and outside. we all live under the same sky of greed, of ownership, and it's falling on us. It's falling from the sky of totalitarianism, of greed, falling from the sky. And all I want to know on this night, as the rain hits the roof, how do we close the sky? How do we close the sky? How do we close the sky?
Sheri-D, would you be so kind as to very quickly video yourself and send it to Rico? For the
All right, I'll try to get dressed.
And Rico, could we have a very quick lesson in recording? So many people have been asking me privately and publicly.
Recording? Well, to tell you the truth, what I do is I just use my cell phone, and I, go into the camera setting and I point it at me, or I put it on a little stand, and I record myself with my phone, and then I forward it, to
And I did find out this information recently, everyone, that if you do it from your phones, you're supposed to do it like this. Not like this.
Yes.
That's right.
You have to go like this, okay?
Thanks.
Who knew? Up to you, Pyx.
Well advised. Susan McCaslin is up now. And
No.
No?
Susan McMaster.
Oh, Susan wait.
Susan comes
Oh,
before.
McMaster.
Susan
Alphabetical. My alphabetical order is a little bit off right now. I've been kind of pie-eyed right now. Yes, and Susan McMaster, we're Tim. What we need now is the ability for me to share the screen once again, because we have a video that features Susan McMaster. It's a poetic conversation. Almost. It's two poems that have been brought together. It's a sharing, a collaboration with Akinlabi Ololade Ige, with music by Ulrich Hübner. And it all goes together to make something absolutely wonderful. And so when I have the ability to share a screen, I'm going to pull that up, and we're going to show that.
Wonderful. Maybe I can quickly say that I did put a note on about where I'm recording from, but there are many other wars and many other difficulties, and Ololade, who is doing this with me, and he's here, is a Nigerian poet who lost family, mother, sister, and father in wars there. And this is a series of 7 grief poems, and I've matched them with poems from my own grief, losing my mother and losing others. So the voices are interwoven. And also the musician, Ulrich Hübner, has written some extraordinarily beautiful music to go with this, and it will be on video. This is a draft video that Ulrich did for this show, and we are doing just one piece from the 7 poems, and it's 2 minutes long, I believe, 2 minutes and a bit. Thank you very much.
Should you be able to open that, Richard?
You have to open it, Richard. You have to click on it.
Hang on a second. It's running.
We're not seeing it.
No, not seeing, not hearing.
Well, again, sorry, you have to probably stop sharing and go to share again. This time share video and audio as well, so we can see it.
Thank you.
Okay, according to my controls, it was in the process of sharing. I don't know what's going on.
I think if you do what Banu suggested, I think it will work.
What was that?
Stop sharing, and when this time you want to share, look down down your screen. It says share audio and share video, then share.
Oh, hang on a second here.
Should be on the bottom left. The bottom left, you'll see two little boxes, and you just click share audio in one of them.
And video.
And video, yes, that too.
Oh, hang on.
It is a pain in the butt, I know that.
Hang on a second here. To tell you the truth, I do not have that.
All right, well, I have a backup plan. Perhaps we could go to that. Can you bring me up instead?
You're
Richard?
here.
Yes, I can. Hang on a second here.
He's sharing. I can't see myself.
You're
There we go.
Okay, there we go. So if I can go to speaker view, I don't know why I'm not seeing myself.
We see you, Sue.
You see me. All right. Well, we'll just go. All right. Well, Ololade is here. It's too bad you can't hear him. He has an extraordinary voice. So I'm going to read a piece called In Search of Abeyance. He has written this series of poems about grief. They are so extraordinary. I wanted to join something of my own in. So the two voices operate one after the other. Because Ololade and I can't do it together, I will do the two voices. The first voice.
Sorry, but you can do it together. You know, he and you can both share if you like.
Ololade, are you there? I hope he hasn't gone away.
Yeah, yes, I'm
Yes. Okay, well then just stay there. I will speak and then you will speak. Do you have that poem in front of you, In Search of Abeyance?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. Well then, go for it, love, and I will say my part after you.
All right. Tonight, we'll all have forgotten how to spell happiness.
The thought of her closing down.
And we hide behind trunks of darkness to keep our teary eyes.
Makes me stare out into shivery April dusk at crusts of gray snow. Watch how they dribble apart.
From one another, this is how we mourn our lost days.
Collapse into the ground, soak the earth below.
This is how we mourn our mother.
With cold.
A voice said, the synonym of God is silence. No, I hear him talk through the thunder.
Lord of roaring, Lord of rain.
Through the lightning.
Lord of the sharp stab of malice.
He says he is bound by his laws too. At every nook and cranny here.
Torn into my brain.
There is no abeyance.
My winter's harsh edge.
My father says, the death of a war resurrects another.
Hard gains ungained.
Therefore, life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be confronted.
Icy terror gelled.
My brother led me to the arid land.
Into bitterness, blame.
where we plucked our dead dreams.
Lord of anger,
And now we search for an arable land.
Lord of flame,
Do not blame me.
melt wetness
I am an incomplete sentence.
into this bleak soil.
And my mother is the missing verb in me.
Reclaim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both for that. I'm sure you've noticed that it's almost as if those poems had been written to be brought together. It's absolutely incredible, and yet they're written years apart. So it's amazing how these things work. Just amazing.
Yeah, I am very, very, very grateful to Ololade for sharing his work with us.
So thank you both. Thank you both. I think now my alphabetical order is correct. Susan McCaslin, and then it will be Susan Wismer. So many Susans. We're just abounding in, usually we're abounding in Daves. Usually it's Daves. It's like Daves everywhere. But now it's
Dave
Susan.
Bridges.
Right. We just have one this time. So Susan McCaslin, take it away.
Well, and I just want to say how much I'm moved by the diversity of the voices, the richness and the music and the dialogue and just so many forms and perspectives that it's a real joy for me to be part of this. And thank you all, both poets and audience, for showing up today. I already mentioned that I'm from the unceded territory of the Kwantlen First Nations, but the river that runs near my house was called by the Europeans the Fraser, but it is the Stolo, the Stolo River to the First Nations, and I use that now. So I'm going to read just one poem, and it is in the anthology, which I should say Penn and Richard have spent much more time on than I did, because I had to bow out because of some family issues. But I've been in the background here and there working on it, but with feedback and so on. But I just want to say how much they have put into it. My poem is called Poetry in Times of Peril. Mysteries abound in planet Earth, in the cosmos, in each of us. Rocks, plants, animals, humans, star fields, interconnected. Poetry at its best emanates from curiosity, wonder, awe at our place in the order of things. Words, musicality, form, rhythm, storytelling are cairns raised to mountains in the poetic process. In Ukraine, poems still spill from the wings of storks, the mythopoetic pinions of dream horses, along with the whinnying of flesh and blood ones transported in trucks away from the killing fields. A poet's medium weaves breath, fire, and crafted words, a union of our Sophianic core with an otherness. Poems even now are writing the poets, leading them where they weren't planning to go. Poems are tricksters, liminal, lightning quick, golden fires that don't singe a hair. Sometimes readers of poems follow golden threads leading to hidden doorways, to energies they had no clue they had or needed, places where thinking and feeling sing from a single sunflower. When a poem is born, a line of invisibility flows through the body, mind, heart dance into pure essence. Poetic interplay opens rivers of healing and regeneration, where silence and musicality bathe consciousness. And grief, too, has a high place of honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Grief, too, has a high place of honor. And now we have Susan Wismer, the third of our Susans. And following Susan will be Tanis MacDonald. And after Tanis MacDonald, we're in for a treat, a special guest. So Susan Wismer, take it away, and then you'll see.
Well, I probably can't say too many times thank you to everyone who's here and everyone who made this happen. Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful to be here. This poem is called Antiphon, Ukraine, March 2022. And for those of you who may not use the word antiphon in your regular daily life, it's just a short verse or chant sung in response to a song heard from elsewhere. Antiphon, Ukraine, March 2022. A telling, tolling, resounding, repeated, insistent on the dark wounds of earth, marked, refusing, resistant, plangent for singing, dance, stories, rest for the ear, quiet, remembered. Each unknown voice speaks over and under the boom thrust of war, exploding every insensible bomb. Antiphon, silence, endurance, peace. Thank you.
I'm up for any poem that ends on the word peace. So thank you very much for that, Susan, just down the road from me. Tanis MacDonald is up next, and after that we have Tolu Oloruntoba.
Oh, wonderful.
So, there we go. Yes, and there's a bit of a story about that, but anyway, we're gonna, and then after that will be Yvonne Blomer, and that will round out our day. Okay, so Tanis, the floor is yours.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Richard. And I want to say that I'm originally from Treaty 1 territory, the home of the Cree, the Ojibwe, and the Lakota peoples, and a home of the Métis, homeland of the Métis. So that means I'm from Winnipeg. And I grew up among the children of some of the 180,000 people of Ukrainian heritage who live in Manitoba. My poem's called We Lived Canadianly During the War, and it is after the poem by Ilya Kaminsky. We were unhappy during the war because our bandwidth was low. Gas prices were up, and we were tired of masking. And when they bombed other people's houses, we knew to sigh and look sad. And when Ukrainians sold abandoned Russian tanks on eBay, we laughed and we followed that influencer. But when I say Holodomor in class, no one knows what I mean. And my partner speaks only altar boy Ukrainian, and only when I ask him to. And when he grew his hair into an ozladets that I braided every morning, the clerk at Sobeys asked, "Is that a religious thing?" And together we speak the surnames from our Winnipeg childhoods: Shevchenko, Andrusiak, Izidorchuk, Natishin, Stefaniuk, Kupchak, a litany, a list. But when they counted the dead, we're counting sparrows at the feeder. And because this is Canada, we loved it when the Baba downed the Russian drone with a well-aimed pickle jar. And I phoned a friend from Winnipeg and discovered he had died in August. Cancer, mid-pandemic. He who used to imitate my dad's accent. He who owned the first telescope through which I saw the sweep of the Milky Way. And so we lived during the war, doing what we knew how to do, mourning a single death among thousands.
Oh, powerful.
Yeah, thanks, Tanis. That just shuts me up. So, so I'd like to share, so I'd like to have Tolu come up and share his piece with us.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everyone, including Penn and the rest of the organizers, and thanks for everyone that has waited thus far. I'm speaking from the territories of the Katsi, Semiahmoo, and Kwanpan First Nations, known as Surrey in BC. I'll be reading one poem because I know it's been a long day from my collection called Each One a Furnace. It's part of a longer sequence, but I'm just going to read the first part of it. The poem is called Premonitions. And the first part is called Carbon-Based. Everything is not right, but there are more people, beg your pardon, I'll start that again. Everything is not right, but there aren't more people combusting in the streets. Wasn't all that was needed friction, some oxygen, and willing bodies? Those who watch the geopolitics of effigies, who see the stockpile of bodies in front of the city. Yeah. I continue?
We've lost you.
I'm still here, but there was some interference. I don't know where that was from.
I can't see where it's from.
Oh, it could be Robert. It could be Robert, maybe. I don't know, maybe something, I don't know. Did something happen over there? Maybe? No?
Hi, Robert, you're unmuted.
Oh.
All right. Richard, do you want me to start again, or?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Yeah. Okay, let me just start again. So carbon-based. Everything is not right, but there aren't more people combusting in the streets. Wasn't all that was needed friction, some oxygen, and willing bodies? Those who watch the geopolitics of effigies, who see the stockpile of bodies in flammable cities, are concerned. Everyone is waiting for something. We are compacted, smokestack walking, cloth bonded, and those who distrust this calm beatific shelter in place, waiting for someone to ask, wouldn't a little heat be a good thing? Thank you. Kept it short.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. And yes, it's been a long day. It's been an absolutely long day. And so I'd like to invite Yvonne Blomer to round it out and send us home.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks, everyone, for staying all the way to why.
You usually are so lucky. Yeah. You're lucky. You usually come in at Blomer, right?
I do. I'm usually near the beginning, so it's a blast to be at the end. And I thank you, Penn and Richard and Susan, for this wonderful book and the work you've done. And today's just been absolutely astonishing. So a great delight to be here. I'm going to read a relatively new poem, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's in the book, so you can buy it to see the whole thing. And the poem takes place here on Wasanich territory, which is Saanich, BC. And I'm imagining the Ukraine and thinking about climate change. Poem with questions. What was the first thing you noticed? The wind was a hammer. Birds in trees were sparks. The sun did nothing but cast shadows. The dog's loose ears became sheeted ghosts. Where do you live? I don't understand the question. A truck rolls up the street. Sun blinds. A driver hits a tree. Women carry rifles slung like backpacks or empty child carriers over shoulders. I live in a small shack. The sun, the sun. Is there a war? Always there's a war. I fight blindness, the sun, others, each other, territory, children, oil, wheat. We are beggars with tanks. We stop noticing heat waves. The sun's filters gone. What about tomorrow? What do the poets say about the future? Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, and the wind and sun beat out their refrain. In a novel I once read, a giant ship comes and preparations for the future are on it. Medicines, doctors, people learn to live. A fantasy, I suppose. What do you notice today or just now? Warmth of sun on my leg, dirty windows, bird song. Do we fear they will disappear? Slow, quiet crawl of worm exposed as leaf pile warms and shifts, creaking roof as it heats under the sun. Stillness of the trees and garden when the wind, sudden as it came, goes. Oh, and look, robin, robin, robin in the plum tree, buds on branches on the cusp of blooming into tiny white flowers. Fragrance, I tell you, dust in sun, plum blossom, gas and oil from tanks or trucks as they plow through rock and asphalt to clear civilians to make way. Thank you so much.
What a lovely conclusion to a grand afternoon.
Absolutely, Yvonne. That was a tremendous end to a tremendous day. I would like to send you all home now and just say thanks everybody who attended. We have